please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to a stripped back version because of blasted humidity of This Week at Twitter, or twat. Today we're going to start with The Economist. South Korea's president blames his country's low fertility rate on feminism. China prevents single women from freezing their eggs. Such ideas do nothing to boost the region's flagging demography? Whatever. As far as I was aware, both regions were vastly overpopulated anyway, but we can certainly blame it on feminism if you want. I don't mind. I don't live in South Korea, I just know it is quite heavily populated. I find it quite fascinating on the face of it that feminism is to blame for that. I tend to agree with Sugar Tits here, crying emojis, with laughter. Moving on, let's go to a video from Libs of TikTok. Family doctor in Washington tells kids on TikTok if they're struggling with their gender identity, they can go on puberty blockers or hormones and it's completely reversible. Underneath, readers added context. Study. Effects of puberty blockers can last a lifetime. Use of GnRH analogs also might have long-term effects on growth spurts, bone growth, bone density, fertility, depending on when the medicine is started. Also, do you find this helpful? Children should not be on puberty blockers or any form of transition therapies that involve drugs. Ever. That's my view. I don't usually say it on this channel. If you disagree with me on that, you're well within your right to have that perspective. I'm not going to argue with you for being different, but we are going to have to agree to disagree to move forward, I'm afraid. Now let's play a couple clips from this video and see if we can understand the insanity.
If you have concerns or questions about your gender identity, consider talking to your doctor. There are many things that we can do to help.
This is quite important. On the face of it, I do believe you should be speaking to a doctor when it comes to struggling to understand who you are. A psychiatrist, of course. I do not believe, though, when it comes to children, that child should be put on anything regardless of it being reversible, because we've seen the irreparable harm done as the numbers have been increasing of those who have transitioned or been made to transition by their parents who have essentially conditioned them to want to, who have later realized, actually, I should not have been. The damage to one's mental health is astonishing. Therefore, we now know, as the numbers are climbing, more and more children are being harmed by this. Therefore, it is right to believe, or I think so anyway, that it should be an adult making an adult decision on an adult body that has gone through puberty and is, well, legally independent and able to make the decisions for themselves.
First of all, there are reversible medications that we can give that can help stop puberty where it is and let you explore your gender a little bit further.
As is well known and proven at this point, it also stunts the growth of the person in question, buys them time to continue to have a child's mind work out what they want to do with a body that is trying to become an adult. I don't think that's the right mentality, the healthy mentality, or the right thing to do.
And then there is hormone therapy, which is giving you different hormones than are produced by your body. And then there are permanent changes that happen usually when you're a bit older, but those are going to be surgical. So talk to your doctor if you have any questions.
There is a factor often ignored with this. When a child goes and speaks to their doctor about this, if they're of a certain age, their parent is present, meaning there's a high chance the parent is the one pushing them to transition, which is not healthy in the slightest. It almost tokenizes that child's existence so the parent can look better and not actually explore who they are, understand who they are. Again, no child should go through permanent change, and the discussion should be nowhere near the table, nor should the hormones, for that matter. Again, they have to go through puberty first. You may not like that, but this is one of those things you cannot truly fight. You can pretend to, or be a pedantic shit about it and say yes you can. The reality is, no you can't. It is immutable. If that makes me, in your eyes, transphobic, do remember here, I'm speaking of children. When it comes to children, I will hold the firmest of stances, because I believe they should be children first. Now, before we dive back into something else that might get me accused of being trabsphobic, we're going to go to some food blasphemy, from Thailand of all places. I thought this was an Americans Ruin Everything because it was Burger King, but it turns out, no, it bloody well isn't. Introduced in Thailand on July the 9th, the burger does not have any meat, but instead customers are blessed with whopping amount of cheese. That's what it says, 20 slices to be exact. It is called the real cheeseburger. Without a beef or human patty in there, that is not a burger. And this blasphemy
will not stand. Thailand, you're lucky you make whiskey I like.
I am not happy with this. And I'll blame America anyway because you suck when it comes to food, and I can't believe Thailand has started to adopt your cheese as food. So you can have this little musical bit before we carry on. Keffels and Tipster were trending at the same time. Oh, this part will be fun, won't it? 2 lol cows at once. Yay! One of the many reasons Keffels was trending is because this is Keffels signing up for Soul Bunny's Patreon to get past being blocked, to be a thorn in her side, I guess, to not surrender. Well, in my opinion, it's intimidation and harassment. It is not how you call for accountability across intersections, it's effed up behaviour. Included is an image here. Keffels pledged $3 Canadian, which is like 2 pence in real money. Along with, in other tweets, Keffels being accused of being a liar. Tipster was trending because Tipster retweeted Jalen, where Jalen had said, I hate how the commentary community just blame women for everything. Oh, Tipster left, it's because of Keffels and he's a simp. Oh, iDubbbz is cringe now and it's all Anissa's fault. They just strip all agency away from people. Truth is, people just grow, change and mature. Retweeted by Tipster. The point about this though is quite interesting because I don't think this is solely commentary community sphere. There are people outside of it who will happily say, iDubbbz changed. Even iDubbbz admitted, since getting married, he's not the same person anymore. And with Tipster, I don't actually have a bloody clue why he is the way he is. I really don't. But he has been simping for Keffels in a way that is quite peculiar. Blindly as well. Even when presented with evidence that Keffels is not all that, he will do a yeah well, but you know, whatever. And I find that quite bad. But you have other pieces here. Tipster defended Keffels for subscribing to someone's Patreon to see their content that is criticising her when a few days ago he was crying about Augie, Nick and Boblax being members so they can see his videos on demand. Here's the image proving it. Certified Hater had tweeted to Soul Bunny, puts hit piece behind a paywall because you love to drama bait for money. Is mad when person you made hit piece about goes through the paywall to see it. You're a deeply unserious person. Tipster. Imagine doing a hit piece on someone and locking it behind a paywall. Lol. My view will be the same here. Keffels is obsessed with those that criticise if those that criticise can garner enough attention. And Tipster is not applying any credible thought or consistency to his position. One rule for me and those that I simp for, but not for thee, because how dare you do the very thing I've cried about. There is a level of hypocrisy within this whole situation that is quite tasteless. And from Tipster's perspective, I'm sure he thinks he's in the right, but it comes across as narrow-minded and tactless. And I really hope you see this, man. Whatever it is that's bugging you right now, that's making you seem so blind to other perspectives, I really hope you take the time at some point to realize this is ending poorly for you. While controversy does give you views, you haven't had really good consistent subgrowth for a while. I can relate to that, but I can relate to it because I'm inconsistent in my quality. Your problem isn't that you're inconsistent with quality, it's that you essentially shat on everyone else that you aligned with rather than simply walk away, causing drama in the process, which led to, I believe, Turkey Tom making a video about you with a rap at the end. Yeah, that was something. Because I like dark humor, you have here from The Foxy, breaking, Japan bans #Oppenheimer. Does well in the image say satire, by the way. Underneath, they have already seen the movie. Yeah, they got the 3D version, right? Is it too soon to make those jokes? If it is, do let me know in the comments. I live to be told this when I want to make many more jokes. Next is something I hadn't really considered before, because obviously I'm a bit older, I don't really play a part in any of this, but I find it fascinating because the research comes from Pew of all places. From the Twitter account of Men Are Human, Pew finds 63% of men under 30 are single. Apparently, dating women feels like a job interview. Presumably for a job where you pay your boss instead of the other way around. Is this your experience? Included is a New York Post article, where at the bottom of it says they're single, but they're not mingling. Now, I've always thought dating was akin to that anyway, but for both parties. Yeah, because you're not just dating to settle down. Some are dating because they want to have sex. Some are dating because they want to have a casual relationship. Some want to build something. It depends on what you're looking for, so you do have to go on a date and work it out like a job interview, but not in such a really rigid manner. Be a bit more tactful. The interview is usually in a more relaxed manner if you can do it, as opposed to having it all written on cue cards and then marking you off on a clipboard, see whether or not you're suitable or viable as a potential long-term suitor, right? What I've noticed of late with the youth is, and I've had this discussion before a couple times actually recently, is that whereas my generation of millennials often get called the entitled generation, a lot of those that are young now, the young current generation, seem to be more interested in working. So I can understand why dating isn't such a priority, because they've realized, as science has proven to them, they don't have to be involved as young anymore. There's no real urge to settle down sooner. Also, divorce rates don't help them in the slightest, do they now? To me, that comes across as a generation that might be learning from the mistakes, but additionally, with things like social media and the online space, many are reluctant to get involved when their lives are plastered on social media. I'm not saying that those people are introverted, but many don't wish to share everything about their life in that manner. Additionally, many don't want to be like that. They don't want to rely on social media for attention. There are many reasons why the dating pool has changed, and it becomes quite an interesting discussion. The nature of dating itself, in fact. A lot of people go online and use apps, don't forget. So how one does this and finds their potential suitor gets quite complicated. Do let me know what you think in the comments though. It helps with the channel, it drives up engagement, that in turn helps us. Because I'm intrigued to know what you think about the youth, and especially single men now under 30, who are less interested in dating. The final two things I'd like to show you today. One is a cringy TikTok video.
I've trained all the children at my summer camp to come to me whenever I play my recorder. Bunch of 5 to 11-year-olds are just following me wherever I go. I have so much power and I love it. It's the perfect time to teach them about trans.
I have so much power and I love it. It's the perfect time to teach them about trans.
Not entirely sure you should be using a recorder to speak to children in that manner. It comes across as a bit inappropriate. The second is audience participation from one of the most well-known cosplayers, Jessica. I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce your last name. Who is the worst Pokemon? No question mark. Go. Now, the first reply says, Geodude, I disagree with this. When you start, a Geodude is remarkably handy. Of course, you don't have access to a trade, you do run the risk of losing out on a Golem, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Geodude, though, isn't actually that bad earlier on. Depending on which iteration you have, of course. It's not my go-to. It was in the yellow, blue, red, and I might go so far as to say in gold as well. Maybe then as well. I preferred Onyx, but obviously evolution harmed it, the inability to actually do anything until you did a trade to get a Steelix, but even Steelix wasn't that strong, which made no sense for a creature of that size. But to be honest, the simplest is usually the correct answer, Occam's Razor, Magikarp. It only has one move, Splash. You could argue that is one of the worst Pokemon because it is of no use to you until it evolves. You could argue the same perhaps for Metapod as well, but it does actually have some attacks that it would have inherited from Caterpie. I'm a bit of a Pokemon buff. There are some rather odd ones. That set of keys, is it Kefki? Bit strange. The Vanillite one is a bit of a strange one, the one that looks like a 99. Yeah, that one. But actually I don't mind that. That was actually in my 6. The evolved version, fully evolved, quite powerful, Ice type. I think I did eventually replace it though with an Alcatraz, Alcatech, Alka-Seltzer? Yeah, that one. Articuno, that's what it was. I'm an idiot, thank you. I really wanted to say Alka-Seltzer, I think. It was just on my brain. For the sake of this audience participation, if you are a fan of Pokemon, I'd love to know what you think the most useless Pokemon is. I still think it's Magikarp, solely because it doesn't have any attacks. Yes, it evolves to Gyarados. Awesome. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how it's the worst one. I might also include all 3 of the starter Pokemon for the newest iteration of the game because they look like absolute shite. I'm a fire type starter. Yeah. I have to put the type in there or I'm going to be accused of like prodigy-based plagiarism. Alright. The newest one looks like crap. Alright. Even its fully evolved version looks like shit. Alright. Fix it. Make it better. Or I'll set my Blaziken on it.